we know that things like regulatory changes in bankruptcy laws or industrial policy or even cultural shifts, what we refer to in the literature as institutional changes, influence entrepreneurship in many ways. But what we knew considerably less about is how entrepreneurs strategically respond to these institutional changes. And so the background of the research is that we wanted to tackle this question by examining China's marketization, or the transition from a planned economy to a market economy. This is a data set that we collected from a survey that went out to all Tsinghua University alumni. And so we got responses back from those alumni who had become entrepreneurs. And so the data set is advantageous for looking at this question because it spans a number of years and even decades along the time of China's marketization process.
Our key findings are that entrepreneurs should take different strategies in different institutional environments or at different stages of institutional change. First, we find that entrepreneurs should take a relationship-based strategy in a low marketization environment. A low marketization environment is characterized by weak capital market structures, underdeveloped legal support, and heavy government regulation in activities of the economy. In such an environment, a close relationship with the government officials will facilitate entrepreneurial resource acquisition. Empirically, we find that government relationships are associated with a larger firm size in a low marketization environment, and the effect decreases when the institutional environment becomes more marketized. Second, we propose that entrepreneurs should take innovation-based strategies in a high marketization environment. A high marketization environment is characterized by established market structures and well-established legal supports for conducting businesses, such as contract enforcement and limited government intervention in economic activities. In such an environment, innovation becomes the driving force for firm growth because it provides signals of quality and confers competitive advantages in the market. Empirically, we find that innovation is the most conducive to venture size in a high marketization environment, and the effect increases under higher levels of marketization. And third, we propose that cocoon-based strategies is most conducive to firm growth in an intermediate marketization environment. During the intermediate phase of marketization, it is uncertain whether government relations or innovation will be more beneficial for venture growth. To resolve this dilemma, we propose that entrepreneurs can adopt a cocoon-based strategy to facilitate experimentation with the new rules while obeying the old rules. We define cocoon institutions as local institutions that introduce new institutional arrangements ahead of the broader institutional change process. For policymakers, those cocoon institutions are experimental policy designs that aims at introducing the new institutional arrangements locally before making the changes more broadly. For entrepreneurs, those cocoon institutions will provide temporal protection from the broader institutional uncertainties during the transitioning period, because entrepreneurs can avoid betting on which rules to follow. Cocoon institutions can include a wide range of experimental policy designs, such as science parks and special economic zones. Empirically, we find that locating in science parks promotes venture size during the transitioning period, and the effect decreases as the broader institutional environment becomes more marketized. Our research proposes 3 specific avenues for future research. First, we propose that future research may explore whether our results apply to other emerging economies or a more representative sample of entrepreneurs. For example, how do institutional changes impact the strategies of less educated entrepreneurs? And does the effect of institutional change on entrepreneurial strategies depend on the demographics of entrepreneurs or other types of institutional changes? And second, we propose that future research may test the concept of cocoon institutions beyond science parks and examine the boundary conditions of cocoon-based strategies. For example, cocoon institutions may take different forms in different settings, and cocoon-based strategies may be less beneficial in the transitioning period if the broader institutional environment is less uncertain. If cocoons are not beneficial or are even unavailable, what other strategies might promote firm growth during the transitioning period? And third, we propose that future research may better understand what entrepreneurs should know about changes in institutional environment, how they know these changes, and if there are entrepreneurs in certain social or physical locations who may get this information more quickly than others.
We noticed that there were a lot of these things that had just been separately examined as almost independent phenomena, science parks, special economic zones, sandboxes. And so rather than them being just these kind of independent things that people were looking at, we were trying to think through, if we abstract up a level, what's the mechanism that's being performed here? It's trying to manage this transition in policy or in market.
Regarding the specific metaphor of cocoons, we're thinking about what functions those concepts would provide to entrepreneurs. And one dimension is that they will protect entrepreneurs from the uncertainty during this institutional change. So we think cocoon provides the function of protection.